Hello, everyone. My name is Yaron Spiewak. I'm the music director for the Center for Spiritual Living, and let's start with some holiday music. It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling and everyone telling to be a good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest seasons of all, with the holiday greetings and gay happy meetings when friends come to call. It's the happiest seasons of all. There'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling down in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tale of the glories of Christmases long time ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling down in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tale of the glories of Christmases long time ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
What a great way to begin our morning service. It is a great, wonderful time of year. Good morning, Jerome.
Good morning, Keith. Good
And
evening, actually.
I was going to say, and good morning from here in Los Angeles, and good evening to you there in Israel, right?
Mhm. Yes,
What
that's
city are
correct.
you in?
I'm in Ashkelon. It's right by the Mediterranean Sea, by the beautiful Mediterranean Sea.
Oh, fabulous. Visiting your mother, correct?
Yes, for the
Good.
holidays.
Happy. I'm so happy that you're there with her, and happy holidays to you. And I know that Hanukkah is beginning. We had that conversation earlier today. So happy Hanukkah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
Thank
know
you.
you're so excited to be with your mom, and I don't know if you know or not. While you were singing, Argentina won the World Cup. So
Woo! My
they won.
dad's Argentinian.
they
How
won
about
via
it?
a penalty. So what better way to start off our Sunday morning service than honoring sports, right? So it's great. Well, I'm so glad you're here. We've had you now 2 weeks out of the month, and it's just fabulous to have you. First time you're in the land of Los Angeles, and now you're in Israel. So it's just wonderful. So glad you're here, and looking forward to you sharing some really beautiful music that you have planned for us for today. So
Thank
see
you.
you in a moment. See you in a
See you in a
moment.
moment.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles, and welcome to our live, not in person, but live via Zoom, Sunday morning celebration service. If you're joining us live, it's Sunday morning, December 18th in the year 2022. It's a pleasure and an honor to share this time together as we honor and acknowledge the life force that exists within each and every one of us, and honor the ability that we have as unique, individualized spiritual beings to choose to decide and define how we want to name it, call it, and or define it in our life. And so we welcome you into our service today as we have a time of inspiration and reflection and great music that Yaron's got planned for us on this first day of the First day of Hanukkah really is tomorrow, but it starts tonight at sundown, so wherever you may be. So I welcome you as you come here. I'm going to put on the screen our slides to take us through the opening of our service. And so we are a community known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and we're happy to have each and every one of you here with us today. We open our service on Sunday mornings with the act of Namaste. That is an act of honoring the power within each and every one of us. We honor many different faith traditions in our philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind here, as you will hear when we do our lighting of the candles, the flames of faith, in just a moment. But to begin with, I'd like for us to say a virtual hello to each and every one of us. You'll see on the screen this beloved being that is absorbing the light of the divine within and then sharing it back out to each other. That's done through this act called Namaste. In its Sanskrit meaning, it means I bow to you. In its most modern incarnation, as experienced in the Western world, it's the power, the divine, the God, the light, the life in me honors and acknowledges the same in you, as well as I receive that. So together, let's place our hands together in prayer position, placing it over our heart as we take a deep breath in, feeling our heartbeat, being ever so grateful that that is taking place within us, as well as our awareness of that taking place. And bowing forward, leaning forward, bringing into our mind's eye those that may be joining us on this service today via Facebook, Zoom, or later on our YouTube channel. And say with me together, Namaste. I bow to thee and I honor thee. As a community, we've been gathering for over 30 years here in the land of Los Angeles, and we come together celebrating the individuality of spirit that expresses itself by means of each one of you. We welcome and celebrate all races, all religions, all countries of origins, all sexual orientations, all gender expressions, all abilities, that we stand with you for who you are, as you are safe here. And so today, let's all join in together and affirm out loud, we welcome one, and we welcome all. As a community, we've come together to look at the most empowering way we believe to live life, which is through the practice of New Thought teachings, primarily the teachings of the science of mind. This is a philosophy, a faith, a way of life that focuses on the teachings of Dr. Ernest Holmes and the science of mind. Not making him a guru, but just someone who facilitated the revelation, if you will, of the compilation of all the great spiritual teachings at the time, and put together this philosophy, faith, way of life that when you congeal it down into its most sentient principles, is that there's one power in the universe. You and I experience and express and individualize that power. We do it through our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions, and our interactions with the very thing itself called life. And because we live in a universe governed by spiritual law, that it responds, this power, to us through this law and produces experiences, effects, conditions, some circumstances, in essence, our life before us, that is a reflection of how we show up and use the power itself. And so our role and our responsibility here is to use it as wisely, as lovingly, as compassionately as we can in life, as we learn more and more about who we are as divine beings and then reveal that through our humanity. The vision statement for our community is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. We come together today and all times that we come together with this vision statement in mind so that we support each other in mind and physically of finding our own personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Over the last month or so, we've been reminded that a spiritual awakening is a remembrance that we are one with the infinite sea of consciousness, the one immortal life itself that we individualize, and so that we indeed are all one. And so I invite you today to open your heart, open your mind, open your soul and your being to be receptive, to tap into this remembrance of being one with the sea of consciousness. of being a being of light, of being one who has the opportunity to make choices in life. And the first choice that we like to make is to honor all aspects of life. Today we continue in our service with our morning ritual. This ritual is called Calling in the Light. Being that today is the first day of Hanukkah, we're right on the cusp of the winter solstice. We're certainly celebrating Christmas, and post-Christmas will be Kwanzaa. I'd like for us to remember today the various different spiritual philosophies and faiths of the world. As we light this virtual candles today, let's do the call to service called Lighting the Flames of Faith. I invite you, as I call forth each of these different faiths, to bring into your mind's eye either someone that you know who practices these faiths or someone that does that you may not know personally but have the ability to honor and send blessings today. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. And so as we metaphorically light a candle, we do so for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, that which is known as the natural way. We also light it for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We also light it for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. And for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. As well as for Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. And for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. And all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. And for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. And finally, for all forms of New Thought, it's that which we practice here. And in doing so, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. Bringing that all together, we look at these candles on the screen and choose to know them as healing candles. I invite each of us to think of anyone, including ourselves, that we'd like to silently put into the healing light so that all may experience the healing flames of God's eternal love. One of the qualities that we believe all of humanity is imbued with is peace. In its most traditional sense, peace is defined as an inner state of calm. I like to look at it through the acronym of purposeful energy activates conscious evolution. As your own comes on the screen and we collectively sing the song of Let There Be Peace on Earth, I invite you to look at it act upon it with purposeful energy, believing that it activates conscious evolution for all on our planet. Your own?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God is creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With each step I take, let this be my soul and vow to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
So let's know together that peace indeed is present within us, that we open ourselves up to this awakening that's been called forth and choose to see and feel and know the light within us is present in a new way, and we let it guide us today through an act of inspiration, through an act of illumination, and through an act of sharing that one thing that is within each and every one of us. And through this sharing, we open up to experience it and honor it in each other in a new way. And so today is a new day with a new framework of mind. For that, we're ever so grateful. Let the miracles continue to unfold as we say together, amen. And so it is. Hello, Yaron.
Hello.
Hello. I'm so excited for this next song that you're going to do for us. And I know you're very excited as well. You shared with me several weeks ago that you wanted to do this song when we booked you for this day. And why don't you tell us a little bit about it and why you chose it?
I'd be honored. So this song is called Mao's Tour, and there's an English translation called Rock of Ages. And I know in the States we usually have like either the dreidel song or the Hanukkah song, Adam Sandler, which are usually more satire. But this is like after you light the candles in Israel. This is the song that you sing, and like you learn it from age 4.
And you mean when you light the candles for Hanukkah, the
Yes.
nightly candle lighting, yeah. And
Hmm.
so we know that there will be many of our brothers and sisters that do that today at sundown, certainly in the Western world, and in other parts of the world whenever the sun sets. If they're either practicing or honoring the faith of Judaism, the first candle will be lit with 7 more to come, right?
Hmm. That is
Wonderful.
correct.
Please, well,
I have the
please.
small advantage of speaking Hebrew, so I'm going to utilize it for this
I've
song.
heard you in rehearsal, so I'm so excited to hear you sing it, and I know our congregation is as well.
Oh, great. Thank you. All right. מעוז ישועתי, לך נאה לשבח, תיקון בתפילתי, ושם תודה נזבח, לעת תכין מטבח, מזמר נבח, אז אגמור בשיר מזמור, חנוכת המזבח, אז אגמור בשיר מזמור, חנוכת Amizbeach, Rock of Ages, let our song praise thy saving power. Though amidst the raging foes, host a sheltering tower, furious they assailed us, and thy word availed us, and thy word broke the sword when our own strength failed us, and thy word filled their song when our own strength failed us.
So touching and beautiful.
Thank you.
The song itself is touching and beautiful, but to also be able to imagine you and your family and so many others singing that as you light the candle. And thank you so very much for sharing that. I'm going to let that resonate within me, as I know
Thank you
our
so much.
community will. So thank
Thank you
you.
for letting me share that. I
Oh,
appreciate that.
thank you. Thank you. It was so wonderful, and especially not sure what planet you're on there um, with the backdrop you have there. So I love it. I
Me
love
neither, actually.
it. It's it's fabulous. You're on. That was really really touching and beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. See you in a bit. So I'm still just letting that wash all over me because it um, really stirs within me as I'm trusting it does for each and every one of you, and an outwardly expression of an experience for individuals as around the world the candle is lit this evening to celebrate the miracle of Hanukkah with the intent of fulfilling the song that we sang earlier today and that we sing often called Let There Be Peace on Earth. The lyrics of are which let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God or source as creator, united all are we. So let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take and with every breath I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. So let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. I have so many wonderful memories of hearing this song, singing this song, sharing in this song with so many of you as we did last Sunday in person. That's how we ended our service last week. That's the last communal sharing that we had together, as well as for the many years that I ran the teen camps for the Centers for Spiritual Living and the Churches of Religious Science across North America. And one of the things that I loved about these cantankerous little children called teenagers were they did not care for those lyrics written in the way that they were, which seemed to be, as sweet as they are, an act of supplication, asking for peace to be present in life, even though that's not really what's happening through it. That's not the intent of those lyrics. But each time we sang that at the hundreds of teen camps that I facilitated and ran, every time we sang that in a declaration or a decisive manner of, yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it has begun with me. Yes, 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 as opposed to let. And I love that. And today I'm wanting to share that with us because The critical piece here is about the let it. Yes, it has begun with me. As we continue our theme this month of "'Tis the Season of Light," we've been called each and every Sunday, and even more so today, to remember the light that is within each and every one of us, to honor and acknowledge it as it's being done on the first night of Hanukkah, to remember that literally, as we are about to approach in the Northern Hemisphere the shortest day of the year, that doesn't mean that the light has been extinguished. And that's true for each one of us as well. If there are times in our life when the darkness may seem to be prevalent, to remember that this too shall pass. That not only is that the nature of life, but we have within us the power to make a choice and alter the direction of our thinking, our beliefs, our actions, our perspective, and in so doing, alter the trajectory of life itself. This time of year is really all about celebrating the holidays of when that darkness has become more prevalent and calling in the light. As I've spoken of several times already today, tonight is the lighting of the first candle of Hanukkah, the miracle of Hanukkah, which in the Jewish faith is steeped in that there was only one small cruse of pure oil left in the temple, really only enough to light the menorah for one day. But that small cruse of pure oil lasted 8 days, allowing for enough time to produce new pure oil, and then the menorah was able to remain lit and never burn out. This miracle of light that is infinite by nature, and the miracle of the tapping into the nature of source, is attributed to God, source, the thing itself, and the faith that the Jews had in this power. We're also celebrating Christmas at this time, and I'd like to share this writing about what Christmas means for us. It's believed that many years ago, a new light was born. The light of love was born, and it was called the Christ, the full potential expression of God in humanity. We come together at this time of year to honor the birth of the Christ, both in the human that we all know named Jesus, who presented so many wonderful teachings that have been chronicled in the Bible, but also it's in each and every one of us. In our philosophy, faith, and way of life, we look at Jesus, the Christ, as an example, not the expression. And so we honor this birth, that it exists within us as a reminder, and that place is within us as love in our lives. It's important to remember that when one lights a candle, it doesn't lose light by sharing it. As we share that light, the light just continues to ignite, and the world around us gets brighter and brighter and brighter. This month, as we've celebrated the season of light, we've continued to look at the concept of miracles. And I believe what we need right now, and later today, and tonight, and tomorrow, and the continual elements of life itself is a miracle. And to acknowledge the light of the divine that exists within us as a miracle in and of itself. Traditionally, a miracle is defined, according to the great source called Wikipedia, as a perceptible interruption of the laws of nature. And when thinking about that, I came to be reminded that the laws of nature can never really be interrupted. They're always doing their thing through us. There may be times in the world of appearance that it seems as if they've changed, but they haven't. They just continue to do their thing, and certainly the transformational nature of form changes, but the inherent nature of the laws of nature simply exist. Therefore, I encourage us each to look at a miracle through a more metaphysical perspective. And that is a wonderful event that is happening all the time through us, but it's through our awareness in a newfound way in our being that we get to experience it. And this happens as we begin to cultivate in a greater way than ever before our faith. If you will, our faith musculature, that the light is ever present, that the law of life is always doing its thing, and that the miracles are here, present and for us, not as an unusual or act that is divinely intervened by God. Years ago, in preparing for a holiday service, I reached out to many of my peers and asked them to share with me their thoughts on what a miracle is. I'm going to share them with you now. We know many of these ministers. Dr. Jim Lockhart says this: miracles are expressions of life that we consider to be unusual, but are well within the potential of spirit and its expression of life. Reverend Dr. Carol Carnes, a retired minister, today she's retired, and very brilliant woman, writes this: of course, in our teaching, The Science of Mind, there is no such thing as miracles, just ordinaries. I love that. Dr. Pat Campbell, now of the Calgary Center for Spiritual Living, formerly of the Temecula Center for Spiritual Living, shared this with us. My assistant minister, Jim Wyatt, calls them usuals. His premise is that when we begin to see the world from a spiritual perspective, we see miracles everywhere. My dear beloved, Dr. Maureen Hoyt, and beloved by many of you as well, shared this when I asked of her thought on miracles. She shared, in reading Ernest Holmes this past week, I'm going to the miracle of mind, the source of all inspiration. I think of Beethoven and Einstein and every person who has ever created anything. It was first a glimmer in mind, then with emotion and conviction, the miracle takes form, and we see the results of our thoughts. In essence, everything is created twice, first in thought, then in form. This is the miracle we need to embrace so that when we think errant thoughts, we get errant form. When we think life-affirming thoughts, we get the good life. She went on to write, we can all hear her saying that, right? She went on to write, one of my favorite quotes for the end of year came from a friend in the Pacific Northwest, an actor, sculptor, poet, Harold Blaze, who wrote on his card at the end of the year 20 years ago, how do I conduct my life so my efforts end up on the credit column of the universe's ledger? If every effort we make throughout the year had this as the vision/mission, this would be a miracle to embrace. We have a new calendar year coming up, and what if we were to each commit to living with this vision of consistently and constantly and regularly and compassionately and lovingly asked ourselves and act in accordance with, how could I conduct my life so that my efforts, that which I give in life, end up on the credit column of universe's ledger? Now, we all know that the universe doesn't keep a ledger, but what a great way to describe the ability for us to imagine that, so that it is a reference point of how we make decisions and choices and act accordingly. A miracle is what we've been talking about here. And in the modern world, we know, as we're taught in a course in miracles, that a miracle is our inherent opportunity to see a new perspective in each and every situation. We're presented with this opportunity as we make a commitment, should we desire to do so, to begin to live from the perspective of questioning ourselves and acting accordingly if we were to conduct our lives by engaging in efforts that will end up on the credit column of universe's ledger. And when we don't do that, we forgive ourselves and immediately lean back into the miracle of the ability that we have that is inherent within us as opportunity to then see and choose a new perspective. What this tells me, both intellectually and innately, intuitively, then is that what we're called to do as we live our lives, should we desire to have a life that is more fulfilling and miraculous by every nature, is to court the miracle in every aspect of life. To court it, to invite it in, to engage in it, to dance with it, to be open to it, and to celebrate the experiences as they show up. But where do we begin? I found this quote that says, every miracle begins with a single step of faith. Of faith. In the traditional sense, faith is defined in the King James Bible as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. From a traditional metaphysical term, that takes a left turn because it brings in the act of hope. I learned this past year that through metaphysical terminology, that hope is just simply the desire, the willingness to have the Christ within awakened, to remember that it's present and ready to make itself known. Ernest Holmes looks at faith differently. He writes that faith is a mental attitude so inwardly embodied that the mind can no longer deny it. So as we court these miracles, and it begins with a single step of faith, it's to tap into that inwardly embodiment of knowing that the power of life is there to do its thing through us. I addressed faith in a newsletter article several years ago, and here's what I had to say about it. Without a doubt, there are aspects of our lives where and it's going to be in our newsletter this week, by the way. Without a doubt, there are aspects of our lives where our minds never question what is to come. These include the sun rising, the moon setting, the changing of the seasons, gravity working, etc. This is a result of our subjective beliefs in regards to these aspects. We no longer deny the probability of their occurrence or happening. However, it's well known that there was a time in the evolution of our species when these were in question. Over time, and with repetition of humankind experiencing these events, an inward mental attitude became embodied within so as to no longer deny the possibility of these unfolding. In days of olden year, the accepted guarantee of the basic functions of the outer world working potentially stunted growth for humanity. That is no longer the case. In today's world, it's more often a fear of the unworthiness to be loved, whether or not we're valuable of the good of the universe, if we have appropriate or satisfactory employment, if we have enough financial resources to survive, or our relationships healthy, and if an evolved approach to spirituality is the right way to live. And as much as these challenges aren't as daunting as whether or not the sun will absorb the earth, they still hold great power over us and may prevent us from the growth required to shift our belief systems. Faith is the key. We must look into and beyond the darkness of despair, doubt, and disbelief to grow. I'm going to say that again. Faith is the key. We must look into and beyond the darkness of despair, doubt, and disbelief to grow. We must embrace that which we fear so as to transcend it. For you and I to overcome that which appears to be blocking our good, we must lean into that which is causing an uneasiness. We're all aware of the statement in relation to physical working out, no pain, no gain. There is truth to this in regards to spiritual growth as well. The pain may be letting go of a relationship, a radical shift in a belief, quitting smoking, stopping drinking alcohol or doing drugs, or changing careers by choice or not. In these instances, the spiritual truth of oneness and divine right order is still present. No matter the circumstance, condition, or event in our lives, we still are one with the infinite power of creation and create shift through our thoughts, beliefs, actions, and reactions. In the book, The Course in Miracles, this is written. There's a space between ordinary thoughts. It's still a point not tainted by self-limiting beliefs or self-sabotaging habits. It's a place where pure possibility and potentiality exist. You can enter this space at any time, no matter where you are or what your current circumstances. Let's feel that space. There's a space between our ordinary thoughts. It's still a point not tainted by self-limiting beliefs or self-sabotaging habits. It's a place where pure possibility and potential exist. You can enter this space at any time, no matter where you are or your current circumstances. It's in this space lies the potential for the miracle. It's within this space that you and I have the capacity and the opportunity to have a shift in perspective. For we each hold infinite potential within us. We can access this potential not only by what we place into our consciousness, but what we place into this space that we're talking about. It is by not filling this space between the conscious and deliberate with its opposite, we begin to create a mind, a mental attitude, not a denial of good, but of acceptance. This is where the spiritual musculature of faith is generated. Today is the day that you and I have the opportunity to tap into a new faith, a trust, so that we open ourselves to the miracle of the new perspective, a miracle of co-creating good, a miracle of letting our brilliance out, and the miracle of receiving it. That doesn't mean the journey that we're each on of spiritual awakening and ultimately creating a space for personal self-empowerment is always going to be easy or always has been easy. But what was and what is to be matters not. What matters is the moment. What are we willing to open up to in this moment? And are we willing to strengthen our faith musculature and then strengthen it and then strengthen it? It's really what birthing the Christ consciousness is all about. It's what's really about lighting the first candle with the hope that there will be enough oil for the next 7 days. Ernie says, Holmes, that is, a faith that cannot be shaken is a faith that has been shaken. And if your faith is real, it will even endure the worst of circumstances because character is not made in crisis. It's revealed. Today, you and I begin to tap into the possibility of turning these possibilities into realities in life through a spiritual awakening. We do this by strengthening our faith, by courting the miracle, and by consciously, intentionally giving birth to the miracle of Christ. The Christ consciousness, that is, within ourselves and in honoring it in others. As we move into this week, readying to celebrate the birth of Christ 1 week from today, let's be reminded of the metaphysical, the new thought meaning of Christ. And that is, it's the incarnating principle of the divine in the human. It's the perfect word or idea of the divine unfolding through the human. Christ, the essence, is the divine human. Jesus is the name that represents the individual expression of the Christ idea. That example that's within you and within me, not the exception. Christ, as an entity, an energy, a way of life, existed long before that little baby came into the world. And yet, it was the Christ mind in him that exclaimed, and now, Father, the great power, glorify thou me with thy own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was. This consciousness exists, and it abides in each and every person as potential perfection. And so, just as Jesus was the anointed one, so are you. Today is the day to remember that there must be, and there is, a universal consciousness within each and every one of us that directly responds to our thought and is in contact with us. And so let's commit to living out our vision statement today of finding personal self-empower on the journey of life through a spiritual awakening. On this week that is before us, let's you and I remember to keep the Christ in Christmas every step of the way, meaning that we open ourselves up to that space and we call forth within us the miracle of the opportunity and the ability to see, think, feel, not only anew, but renewed. And it's a renewal of the light that is within us. And so as we continue to live in this season of light, 'tis the season of light, let's honor what the beloved poet laureate Amanda Gorman told us, which is there's always light. If we're only brave enough to see it, if we're only brave enough to be it. I know for you and for me and for all around the world, we are brave enough to be it today and tomorrow and the next day. Let your light shine. Namaste. Thank you. Everyone's going to come back on for us and take us through another song that's a holiday song.
It is. It's from one of my favorite musical theater shows, and I hope you guys love it. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese with moon on the wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses and blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
I love it. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so, are you going to stay in Israel for a bit?
Until January 10th.
Oh,
They
how
have, what-
exciting! Your mom must be so happy.
yes, yes. They have schnitzel with noodles. That's actually what I'm gonna have for dinner.
I love it. Schnitzel with noodles, right?
Yeah.
Is she cooking it or you?
Oh, I cannot cook for my life,
There
unfortunately.
we go. Okay, good. Thank you, you're all.
Thank you.
Thank you. So good to see you. Now is the time in our service that we have before us the opportunity to support our community financially. And know that all of your support throughout the year and years has been deeply appreciated and acknowledged. And we continue to appreciate that as well and support you in supporting us. If you look on the screen, you'll see the methods to do that as you can go to our website, csl-la.org, and click on donate. Go to the app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and tap on, I'm sorry, Robert's put something on the screen regarding that. I'll read it in just 1 second. Or you can go to mail a check and the 1200 North La Brea Avenue, or you can call me directly. So it's saying here the donate feature on the CSL-LA app is working again. I didn't know it was not working, so I'm glad to know that. So once again, your options are to go to our website, go to the app in the App Store, or you can mail in a check, or you can call me. All of them are honored and appreciated that you're doing that, and know that we say thank you. So I'd like to have Yaron come back on the screen and take us through our conscious giving song called Love Is My Decision.
Love is my decision, yeah. Must come to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision, yeah. My decision right here, right now.
So wonderful. Such a fabulous song, right? Such a
Mhm.
fabulous song. Thank you. Well, Yaron, thank you so much for being with us today on this different time zone and bringing your joy and light with us. And know that we hold you in our heart as well as your mom as you guys enjoy these wonderful holiday season together. And I know that you're having fun and working some too and creating music. And thank you for the gift that you bring to the world.
Thank you so much for letting me share that gift.
So wonderful. And I know that you'll have some more for us before the end of the year on our New Year's service. Okay, so chat with you later. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Take care. A big thank you to Yaron for being here today. A big thank you to each of you for being here with us today, whether you're joining us through Facebook and or Zoom and or at a later date. A thank you to our audio technician, Travis Smith, who's always works diligently and hard to keep us in line and also make this work. And no matter where he is and what he's doing, is always on the go. So thank you, Travis. A big thank you to Robert Hensley for also helping us keep these productions and play, as well as our social media that you do such a wonderful job with, as well as administrative work. For all of you, may you know that you're deeply honored and appreciated, and may you have a fabulous week ahead as we move into Christmas. Speaking of Christmas, we will have a service next Sunday. It will be a live service. So please feel free to join us as we get up Christmas morning and have a beautiful service of music with Melissa Lewis, and just chill and hang and connect together. So I look forward to seeing you there as well. Seeing you here, not there, but here as well. Also, to let you know, our midweek morning meditation continues on Wednesday morning. Would love to invite all of you to be a part of that. It's at 8:30 a.m. You can access all that information through our weekly e-newsletter or reminders that go out. You can sign up for those on our website, CSL-LA.org, or access them through our app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles, as well as both places can guide you to past meditations that have taken place, as well as previous recordings of Sunday services. We're also making a point now, the day of the meditation, to send that out in a link to everyone through that email, so you can just tap on a one-click and listen to it throughout the day or later, or save it to your desktop, whatever you'd like to do in regards to that. But know that it's easier to access now than ever before. Also remind you that the New Thought texts for the day go out each day at 7:30 a.m., which is a great way to start the day, unless that's you're 12 hours ahead, and it's a great way to get ready for your evening. But it's a great tool and resource to be reminded that we each have the power within us to live our lives and to choose accordingly. I want to wish you all a very, very, very Merry Christmas, a very Happy Hanukkah. I will see you all next Sunday if you're here, but just want you to know that as you continue on this journey of life, of finding your personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, that indeed you are perfection, wholeness, and completion just as you are. That you are love in action, love, which is the self-givingness of spirit, that in terms of creation is ready to give more of itself, and let's all each allow it to do that through us more and more and more. And should we find ourselves in moments of distraction or disbelief or feeling unworthy, let's all just take a deep breath in, stop the madness, exhale, and choose anew. We're going to close with affirmative prayer and meditation, and after that we will say goodbye to those of you that are joining us on Facebook. I don't know if our beloved Lenore Edney, Reverend Lenore Edney, is joining us on Facebook, but if so, let's all say happy birthday to her. And we will continue after we say goodbye. If you're here on Zoom with us, we will hang out for just a moment and say hello to each other, and then go from there. So without further ado, let's close out. Let's each take a deep breath in and exhale. And if it's safe for you, wherever you may be, and you feel comfortable doing so, please close your eyes. Just feeling the energy of what's been said, what's been transpired, the music this morning. Connecting to any stirrings of the soul that may have occurred. Allowing ourselves to feel gratitude for the ability to be together. To feel gratitude for everyone that's charted the course of being in spiritual community ever before, and providing space for each of us to have that. Feel gratitude for all that have had the willingness to think with a new perspective, thus creating new belief systems and new experiences in life, settling into our subconscious mind, so that we don't live with the fear of the sun burning us up, or that gravity may stop working. And in honoring the evolution of mind that has taken place in mind itself, expressing itself through each one of us, we open ourselves to new thoughts and new ideas. asking ourselves, where today can I act in accordance with this newfound commitment to engage in acts and thoughts and beliefs, my efforts, if you will, so that it all ends up on the credit line of this imaginary ledger. And so we bring back into remembrance the things in life that we've each experienced that at some point or time we thought impossible. And yet, they were made manifest because of our willingness to be open to a higher idea making itself known. And so right now, I know and affirm this for each one of us, that sense of wonderment, of miracles, of potentiality is stirring within each one of us, magnetizing and attracting into our world new experiences that are reflective of this higher way of thinking. And we go, wow, that's amazing. It's all there waiting for us. To believe in its possibility. For us to tap into its potentiality. And to tune into thinking of the highest vibration. We are the miracle in action. And so it is. Thank you all for being here today. May with each breath you remember the light of the divine that is within you, and you let that light shine. Happy holidays.